Hello, I'm back. Penny here, and it's been a long time. I'm here with a refreshing beverage. We've tried to record this several times, or at least one other time it was unsuccessful. Here's my refreshing beverage, and cheers.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Jameson and Pepsi, and it tastes really good. A lot of sugar. I don't drink soda, but this is a special occasion. I'm not stopping. See, this is why we've stopped. The dogs have made us stop several times. Cut it out. Leave it.
Son of a sucker. That was hilarious.
Okay, we're not stopping. We're still going. We got a Pepsi, guys. We gotta be fast. We got a Pepsi at retail. And we have a story about it. I've been trying to tell the story, but I'm really a lightweight when it comes to drinking, so I haven't been successful in telling the story. But let me try to tell you the story quickly of how we got the Pepsi at retail. And then I'll try to answer questions about where I've been, what's going on. Are we still into watches? Short answer, yes. Hell yes. It doesn't go away, I think. But it can be tamed. It can be quelled a little. You can see the LA Philharmonic brochure here. I wanted to mention that Rolex is a sponsor, so that's why it's here. Rolex is a sponsor of the LA Phil, and we love the arts. And so we're looking at next season's calendar, trying to figure out what we're going to go to.
And if Rolex sees this, we would love Rolex to
sponsor us.
Give
us free watches.
Go to the LA Phil.
Well, what they do is they sponsor, they sponsor symphonies, orchestras. They sponsor writers and artists, and I think they're obviously a big donor to this to the LA Phil. So anyway, here we are in California. We made a big move, and I guess the short version of how we got this at retail. No, we did not get it from a Rolex AD in Los Angeles. We have not even set foot in a Rolex AD in Los Angeles. But my contacts on the East Coast, my ADs, finally came through. And I'm going to say that we've been waiting for a Pepsi. I asked for a Pepsi probably about 2 years ago. It was after I asked to be on the list for the Green Submariner, right after that came out. So however, maybe it's like a year and a half. I think it's been a little bit less than 2 years. But I asked for the Green Submariner, but then I realized, because I had a Submariner 41 without the date, that I do not like the Submariner. I don't think I actually like any Submariners, including the one that I ended up trading that one in for, Shea Kermit, which actually looks really good right here. I'm taking it to get fixed tomorrow, the bracelet to get fixed tomorrow. But I realized I'm not a Submariner person, so I changed my request to ask for the Pepsi. And one AD said he would work on it, that no problem, I would eventually get one. And that's the AD I got the Batman from, the BLNR. So I figured, okay, we just have to wait it out. It'll happen. The second AD, because I asked for it from both just to see which one would come through, which would come first. The second AD said we didn't really have that kind of spin history with them because we'd only bought 3 watches. So the Milgauss, the Red Tudor, and the blue HS41. Those are the watches that we purchased from them. And he said, but I will put you on the list and I'll lobby for you. We have a good rapport. He was like, okay, I'll give you a shot. We'll give it a try. But he didn't make any promises. Fast forward to spring of last year of 2022, we realized we were going to be moving. And this is a big move. I will give a life update and try to talk through some of that, in a separate video. But we realized we'll be moving across the country to California. And in a short window of time from like May until August, I put on the full court press, basically begging for this watch. And I wanted it on Oyster because my BLNR is on Jubilee. So I asked if I could get it on Oyster from both ADs, and I let them know I was leaving, and it was, I even went to say goodbye to them, while Empress was still packing and dealing, I was cruising around trying to chase this watch down. I mean, not only that, but we had a lot going on, and I really thought one of them was going to come through with it, but they did not, and they said, farewell, Penny, good luck on the West Coast, we'll miss you. And then we got to LA, and I really thought my chances of getting watches from the ADs will be over now, because I'm not going to start it. They all knew, the ADs on the East Coast told me, look, they're never even going to talk to you. You know, you're brand new to them. You have to start from scratch. They have a huge market, huge, you know, list of clients, wealthy clients. You know, good luck. You need to keep working with us, basically. I think that was the message. Because we understand how hard that's going to be for you to get into a new market. And I believed it, and I didn't want to. I don't have the heart anymore to the drive and the heart to try to play these games that I've been playing so well, you know? And so being that LA is a city that we weren't living in before, it's a city that is kind of notorious right now for, you know, watch theft and violence and stuff. We weren't even wearing our watches when we first got here. We were wearing... You saw some of my videos, the IWC that I got, the Railmaster, which I traded in. Like, we were just being very low key. And then I also bought an Explorer, which I haven't debuted on the channel, because I kind of wanted to make sure that I'm buying watches for me and not for the accolades from, you know, the public, like not from the YouTube community cheering me on. It feels good when you get that and connect with other collectors, but it just had reached a level for me that was like addictive. And I just wanted to make sure that I'm enjoying the watches for the sake of the watches and not for everything else that comes with, you know, social media and just all of that. Plus, we're so busy and we have these new jobs. And anyway, again, that's kind of where we were when we got here. We thought, look, we're probably never, I thought, I'm not going to get this watch from the ADs on the East Coast, even though I stayed in touch with them, would text them here and there. AD number one was saying constantly, I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you. I'll get you that watch. But, you know, he never did. Fast forward to April, which is this month, a week ago, I'm at the park, minding my own business. I get a text from AD number 2, who asked for our new address. And so I was like, oh, they probably want to send us a catalog or something. So I texted him our address. And then next thing I know, boom, 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 he texts me back like 3 pictures. No, but before that, he texted me, what's your address? I told him, and then I said, hey, you know, I'm going to be traveling soon, and actually we'll be in the Northeast again. And I told him the time frame and the dates that I'll be there. And I was like, you know, I'd love to come by and say hey. And he was like, oh, that's wonderful. It'll be great to see you. And then after that, he texted 3 pictures of this watch. He was like, but I guess you don't want to wait that long to pick up this watch. So that's what he said.
Sir?
Quiet.
Enough.
And so, yeah, it was kind of worth an encore on that. Because that was a cool message where he was like, yeah, you probably don't want to wait that long to pick this beauty up, right? And I just was like shaking at the park. I was like, oh my gosh, I was with these badass dogs at the park, and I was like, this watch is mine. It's here. Like, is this really happening? I think that's what I said. I was like, wait a minute, are you serious? You have the watch for me? And he was like, yeah, we'll FedEx it tomorrow. Send you a secure, you know, pay link, and it'll be in the mail. So, that was a shock. And that's how we got the Pepsi at retail. And I've been able to talk with him ever since and, you know, connect. And it kind of gave me hope that, look, the door to me getting a Rolex at retail is not closed. I have been in a kind of place of transition with my idea for collecting and what I want to be doing in this hobby and all of that. But the fact that they did come through on the Pepsi, you know, I think means that there's still possibilities there if we want it. And it really was great, guys. And it turned out that I was traveling, so that all happened. And then I had to leave because I had to travel for work this past week. So I wasn't even here when the watch came. Empress was here. Empress got it, signed for it. I was like, you got to open it. And she didn't want to open it. She's like, no, it's your watch. I don't want to open it. And I was like, it's our watch. What did you say?
I said, no, it's your watch.
Yeah, I mean, you know, but she did open it and took a picture of it, you know, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's at home. So when I finally got back home from my trip, here it was. And it's not sized. It is, as I said, it's the Oyster Pepsi. dated April. I don't have the box and the cards here in front of me, but it's dated April, I think 6th or 7th of this past week. And actually, so I've got to get it sized, and I might go to a Rolex AD. I think I'm actually going to go to this watch repair place that does like vintage watches because it's nearby, and go and get it sized there. Just because, again, I'm not really feeling going into the ADs here. Maybe eventually I will, but I think if I'm building a relationship with an AD in Los Angeles, it's not going to be Rolex. It's probably going to be Vacheron. More on that at a later date. You know, that I would really want a fresh start with the brand if I'm going to start from scratch, instead of playing the games of like, okay, let me buy a Datejust and an Air King and this, right? Like, we're just not there with Rolex. So that is the story, guys. I have to say that this is my favorite watch. The GMT function is my favorite watch. I actually had to go and get the cousins of this watch, the brothers, the sisters, whoever, the family. We are family. So I've got the BLNR on Jubilee. I've had this watch since 2019, I think. Yeah, 2019, because it came out, and I think they reintroduced it in 18, and maybe I got it in 19. Or was it 18 that they came? I think they came out again in 18, and I got it in 18. Anyway, because remember they had the original Batman, which was 2013. I've been deep into the GMT history, and then they discontinued it. They had the all black. I have a GMT story, but I'm not going to tell it today. But this was almost my first Rolex, the all black, the LN. And the year they discontinued, so they discontinued the LN. I was trying to get it. This was going to be my first purchase. I told the story on the Batman video. And then they discontinued it and came out with this. And I was like, I'm never going to get that. And eventually I actually did. And then this was my first purchase from an AD. So now we have the 3 ceramics, not all of the ceramic GMTs, but we have the 3 that are in stainless steel. I think these are the 3 that have come out in stainless steel, because the root beer is two-tone, and then of course the full gold and the full gold versions of it. So but I realized I love the GMT functionality. My Explorer 2 5-digit taught me that I actually love the GMT functionality, and this is my jam. I love this watch. I love the complication. I'm obsessed with that. I totally want to get a vintage one. Maybe a Coke. Cheers. Maybe a Coke. But not a 16710 Coke, but the original first GMT Master 2, the 16760. And I was actually considering that when I thought that the Rolex ADs were dead to me, they would never work with me again, I was thinking of just going vintage for the remaining pieces of this collection, and then like getting a collection of all vintage GMTs or neo vintage, whatever, and getting a Coke and then a 16710 Pepsi. But my heart really likes the shiny, blingy ceramic bezels. I just love them. And this is terrible lighting in here, but in low lighting conditions, this watch actually still looks pinkish to me. It looks like pinkish and a bluish purple. But in natural light outside, it looks a lot darker. And I love it. I think that it kind of mimics the old fuchsia colored bezels. Like, I know a lot of people are like, it's not a true red. At least in this house, in this lighting, this particular watch bezel, it looks like a Mark 1 or 2 to me, like the second one even, where it's kind of lighter and pinkish. But I love that about it, and I love how they shine. I love that they basically always look new. I like it when they get banged up, but I like the shininess of this. And in fact, this Batman, did we decide if it was 18 or 19? If we got an 18 or 19? Yeah. I don't know. We either got an 18 or 19, but it's still it's a little smudged right now, but it always looks new, right? Like if we wipe it off and rinse it off, it'll come back to life and look very shiny and fantastic looking on the Jubilee, right? It's like, we love the Jubilee bracelet.
It's a beautiful beast.
Yeah. So the ceramic GMT is my jam. It is my favorite Rolex. The GMT period, but the ceramics are special. And I know I have 3 of them that are really similar, except for half a color on the bezel. But I think they all have their purposes. Like, I wore this on a trip recently, and I've been wearing the LN for a little while, and then I wore it on a trip, and it just is so good. It's so classic Rolex. You know, it looks like a Submariner, but way better than a Submariner, and it just is perfect. It's an all-purpose watch. But then when you want something a little more, you know, you have the BLNR, and this feels really good. I've worn this like 3 months straight once, and it was incredible. And so it definitely can be very satisfying. And now we have this, and I'm looking forward to wearing it in the right circumstances and, you know, figuring it out a little bit, getting it sized first. So that's it, guys. That's the story of how I got the Pepsi finally. And I know 2 years isn't a long time. I was sort of, you know, I've been here, guys. I've been lurking, and I've been watching videos and reading the forums, just not as obsessively as I was before, or not as, you know, it's not as consuming to me. Partly just because we're going through so many transitions, but partly because I really actively want to minimize the hobby now. I don't want it to take up as much mental and creative space as it was doing for me. So I feel like I'm in a better place with just enjoying it, you know, in a low-key way. But, you know, I don't think it ever quite goes away fully. And I was telling Empress, I was like, I'm cured. I'm done with watches.
Lies, damn lies.
Yeah, so she wasn't really buying it. But, you know, I have some thoughts about the future, but I really find it hard to just enjoy the watch you just got when I start doing that. Hey, what's next? And how is the collection going to change and all of that? So I'm going to try to quell that. But I guess I would say I was at a little bit of a watch retirement, and the Pepsi brought me out. The Pepsi brought me back to YouTube and wanting to share this just because it feels like a milestone to get it at retail in less than 2 years, around 2 years, less than 2 years. It did come through. It seemed improbable that they would still work with us after we moved, but they did, and I'm just really grateful for that. And you know, I do enjoy the hobby still, and I wanted to share the news. I told a few people who I'm still in touch with on YouTube and on, you know, text message and stuff. We've been chatting, but yeah, definitely it feels good to get this and to be back a little. I think I have the idea for 1 or 2 more videos, so, you know, maybe I'll make another one soon. But we're here. Don't forget about us. We love you guys. We still love watches, and enjoy the hobby. Wear your watches in good health and be kind to each other.